So what's the platform again we're going to?
Milford Industrial Platform. It's across the Cloud City of Orison, on the other side.
Okay.
I'm following you, Echo.
Okay, I'm in a lift right now, so that might be dangerous.
Yeah, I can see.
That's the start of the normal works around here, isn't it?
No, Caplan. Caplan is where the XGR or CRG implemented time trial track is located. We used to have the start line at Caplan, but I moved it. I moved it to Milford this year, so that we're out of radar range. We're also, not causing a lot of traffic there or any problems in the area ourselves.
Okay.
And there's a lot more space out there to do more things, so
I'm going to
it's
have
a
to
lot,
look at the
a
map
lot
again.
safer of a location. Yeah, that's alright.
Oh, can I get a party invite, Robolar? Oh, Robolar, get a party invite.
Yep.
Y'all are gonna nickname me Ricky Bobby here after this.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Yeah.
Isn't that a barbecue sauce?
No. Talladega Nights. Ricky Bobby. Alright, tough crowd. It's okay.
That's a good movie.
I just want to go fast. Oh, this is going to be a rough 6 hours. I'm just flying in a circle. Just good shit.
Yeah! Hell yeah. It's so cool that we're making, like, Le Mans a thing in Star Citizen. And I really hope we can capture more of the sim racing community and, like, convince them that 3-axis is greater than 1. So I'm trying to, like, talk to the iRacing community and say, hey, this is a thing now in Star Citizen, you want to come try it? We've got a few. And a few coming, so hopefully we can get some more. But as you're flying out of Orison Spaceport today, fly it over all of the industrial platforms, fly over the Cloud City, so that you're not impeding any of the racetrack itself. And then when you come up to Milford, about 1 kilometre out, just reduce your speed to 100 kilometres or lower, and then when you're inside the tunnel, when you're inside the pit area that we'll be using for all of the race teams, 50 metres a second, 50 metres a second or less would be appreciated. You'll be assigned one of the beams on the platform on the day. So I'm just going to pick a random one. Coming from the side, you won't enter from the front or back, because that's of course where the races are coming through. But if you're coming from the side, there's some loading cranes that you can park your ships at, which completely encase all of their ships and geometry, making your ships essentially immortal from incidents. Like if anything hits the crane, the thing that hits the crane is going to die, the crane is going to fall over and crash. Alright, so now would be the time to start recording. I'll go into my spiel. Amazing, amazing. I was just warming up. Hello everyone. I'm EchoBit, presiding officer of Anzia Racing, VTuber, professional racer extraordinaire. I will teach you the fundamentals of going fast in Star Citizen spaceships today. So, whether you're trying to shave off a few seconds of your lap times, or you're looking to get an edge in competitive racing, understanding how the flight model works is crucial. The Star Citizen's flight model is incredibly detailed and complex, with nuances that can make or break your performance on the track. By mastering these details, you can unlock new levels of speed and precision flight. So in this guide, we'll go over the key techniques to ensure you are pushing your ship to its absolute limits and stay ahead of the competition. So let's start with flight controls. keybinds and settings that will help you go faster and unlock all of your ship's trade potential. So on the topic of flight controls, I've seen the best racers in the world use every kind of control scheme you can possibly think of. And analog controls are a great choice for control inputs, but keyboard and mouse get virtual joystick and even simulated analog inputs in master modes too. So the control schemes are so closely simulated and matched that it doesn't really matter which device you use, and you should pick a setup that is the most fun, comfortable for you, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with the peripherals. So game settings, I'm going to paste a whole bunch of these into chat. I'll also go over each of them individually. I will throw them into just the voice chat. So they'll be like slightly unformatted. So we're going to look at general settings first, and I'll also put this up in my stream as well. So open up the options, we've got new defaults for your ship. So we've had this huge MSD rework and the ability to customize each of your individual ships. You now have these defaults for flight. So the things that are key to going faster and what we're going to be talking mostly about is atmospheric racing today. Some settings like gravity compensation. So having that on, that in 3X was a feature of, you might have noticed if you were flying in Decoupled, you put out your landing gear, you would get automatic gravity compensation. Some people called it like Zector lock mode, some people called it like anti-gravity effect. But it's got a name now, it's called gravity compensation, and what that does is when you switch on decoupled mode, you won't just immediately drop out of the sky because all of your thrusters, cease helping you in coupled mode, staying where you are. So gravity compensation will automatically help compensate for gravity as well. Having that on is very helpful in atmospheric racing and gravity because it's essentially free resistance to gravity. Your thrusters actually do less work. It seems more of a feature of like nav mode. So you know how in Law they talk about the nav slight drive enhancing your speed. Like that's the way they describe it in Law. This is a similar effect here. This effect doesn't come from your thrusters, it's completely free of charge, so you should always have it on. It means your thrusters are doing less weight, you're being more fuel efficient, so that's why it is very important. The next default flight setting, G-Safe on, should be off. G-Safe on is the name of the option that you want to say no to that. No, I do not want G-Safe on in any situation, so it's in the name, it's on the tin. It will limit the thruster speed and your overall speed if you are on the verge of blacking out, and it's actually really, really harsh on the speed reduction. At about 20% of blacking out, it will significantly reduce your thruster output, so you definitely want to push and start learning the limits of push-in Gs to maintain higher speeds. The next thing, the speed limiter should not be on, and this is something you can actually control separately with cruise control as well. If you have that set up on a joystick or keyboard, it's coupled mode plus Alt plus C, so you can get a speed limiter that way now, even though you have this set to no. The reason you have it off by default, no speed limiter, is because it's very useful to just have full access to your ship speed. It also spawns with that ship setting in Arena Commander Racing with that setting on, so that you don't have to fluff around with like throwing the mouse wheel up or, troubling up to adjust that limiter. Very, very good in racing. You just want to go fast. All these settings are pretty much around that. And then we've got the next one, which is also a thruster limiter. So like G-Safe, on blacking out, it'll reduce your thruster output. Proximity assist as a technology that was developed to assist pilots that came into geometry or terrain too fast. The mastermaids in IFCS now will also reduce your thruster output when you're near geometry or near terrain. So you might have experienced a magnetic effect when you're landed on a pad and for some reason the ship won't take off. That's actually proximity assist being bugged and being too aggressive and is limiting the thruster output of your ships, preventing you from taking off. It's a common reoccurring bug with proximity assist. Turn that off. You don't want proximity assist affecting your thruster output when near geometry, when near terrain all the time as racers. I would say it even affects the grav bikes because they're based on chips as well. So you'll find you're a lot faster near geometry with this off. And then we also have a new addition to 4.8. We have a new advanced HUD for SCM and nav mode. And you can also prefer labels on it too. Now this advanced HUD, if I jump back in game, this is what it looks like. It has a much clearer definition for the boost and speed bar. It gives you much more detailed flight information on your thruster output, your Gs that you're taking, and it also has a lot more detailed information on atmospheric pressure, relative velocity, and vertical velocity, which is new as well. And it has a nice clean readout of your hydrogen fuel and your quantum fuel as well. So I highly recommend that. I mean, the basic MFDs are pretty, but they're difficult to read. And this is what the advanced HUD is trying to solve, is give you, like when you are getting serious about the instruments that you need to read, having clarity on that is more important than a pretty MFD. So that's why we've got both of these options. I recommend having them on by default, because in racing you will absolutely need to know when your ship is going to run out of fuel. You'll need to see your speed and HUD clearly. For the safety of yourself and the safety of racers around you, reading instruments is critical, so you are making informed decisions as a racer. And then I recommend having the pilot velocity indicator always on. It starts as fading by default, so if we go to the pilot section, here we go, pilot velocity indicator. This is, fading by default. So when the velocity indicator, and that's like a little plane with a circle in it, that is in front of your screen, that's your ship's true velocity indicator. That's where your ship is actually hitting relative to your crosshair and ship nose. So that fades when it comes together with the ship nose and crosshair, but it fades a little bit too aggressively. I think it's better to have it always on so that you can tell exactly how closely aligned your ship nose is to that velocity indicator, and that'll come in useful later. So, the next thing you can do is reduce the G-force head movement and the G-force induced afterburner zoom. So these are aesthetic choices, but the reason I highly recommend switching them off is because reading instruments is critical in community racing. Being able to read your UI, read your hydrogen fuel level, your speed, your velocity indicator, all of that gets distorted when you have the dynamic FOV of the afterburner. I mean, if you're okay with it and like you can still somehow read your instruments with it, no problem. But it's always my recommendation for the safety of yourself and others to make your instruments readable at all times in any situation. And then finally, similar thing again, global camera shakes can come off. Keep your instruments readable. Super important in community racing. Alright, let's get into optional general settings. So I'm just going to paste those into the voice chat as well. So we've got a new one now. A new feature which you probably felt the effects of just in general gameplay. So we have a automatic slowdown. Now, there's no tooltip for that. It doesn't tell you what it does, really. But it's actually that effect that you have when you deploy landing gear. You'll get an automatic slowdown of your ship to try and make your landing safer. So I have that off because I prefer to learn how to control my ship even at its full speed, up close in geometry. There's a lot of other things you can do, and it's better to train your brain to control your ship's speed by having it off. So you control how your landing goes. It helps you practice it. You don't have to rely on the automatic slowdown. If you want to keep it on, that's completely fine. But I really recommend having it off so that you start training trying to do landings yourself. And it gives you a much deeper understanding of your retro thrusters, your VTOL thrusters. You'll start to learn the full true nature and characteristics of your ship, which will be useful in brakes and turning. So optional, that I recommend having it off. Now same with decoupled mode. You can start with coupled, completely fine. But I recommend having that as night. Always flying decoupled, and I'll explain why later. Like there's an argument between coupled and decoupled, but decoupled and racing will always come out on top, and I'll explain later. Alright, and then finally ESP, you can switch that off. I mean, this is optional because if you're a combat pilot, you'll want ESP on all the time. That's enhanced stick precision. It will always try and help you align your guns to your target. Very useful in combat. You'll want it on all the time. And racing, it also, like ESP will also zoom in on anything you target. Those effects you can turn off, of course. But it also has a thruster pull effect to keep you on target. So ESP, if you bring your crosshair to a pip, you might not notice it or feel it because the effects are quite subtle at first, but the ship will also be trying to keep you on target. You might see a zoom in, a slight zoom in of the FOV, but there's also a thruster effect going on, and that is disruptive in racing because you want to be targeting people to judge distances, and if that's pulling your crosshair towards a target, pulling you off the heading that you have, that's quite dangerous. So, I mean, it's optional. Like, if you can survive, you know, the effects of the thruster pull and the zoom when you target something, no problem. But I recommend having it off, just for your own safety, and to not have your thrusters slightly controlled by a targeting system. Alright, now let's get into graphical settings. These are also optional, or these are aesthetical choices. But these also improve visibility and your safety as a race pilot. So we've got Gamma. You can throw this all the way up to 100 at night. It's a cheap way to get essentially like low light visibility on the dark side of planets and see geometry better. Yeah, at night it's quite useful. It's just a quick easy fix to like see dark planets and dark geometry better at night. And then we've got volumetric clouds. At the moment we're allowed to turn this off. So I recommend it when you're learning the Ahumahirin track, which is the track we'll be using for the Crux Cup. The clouds get in the way. They obscure Shimura, they obscure Caplan platform. So you won't be able to see Caplan from Milford with clouds on, which is the longest straight to get to the next platform. So have them off while you're learning the track, and then if you learn the track and you get comfortable with where everything is by hitting and direction or just general feeling, put the neck on if you like the aesthetic. But for learning and for safety of knowing where to enter all of the platforms today, have them off. Now if you don't have head tracking, a cheap way to get more visibility of your surroundings, of course, is to increase your FOV. You can throw that to max. I don't have head tracking today, so I've maxed my FOV myself. Just helps with cornering and judging turns better. Higher FOV, much better for situational awareness and cornering. And then I've got motion blur off, because like I said, And same with chromatic aberration. These things will blur or distort the colours, like split the red and green and blue pixels. That's what chromatic aberration does. It's the effect you get when you're dehydrated and your screen starts splitting pixels on the edges. I have those off so that I can read my chip instruments. Very, very important, and to be able to read party markers, distances, all of the information clearly, so all of that comes off. And then finally we've got audio settings, which are also optional, more aesthetic choices. So there's even more camera shake. You can turn off audio-driven camera shake for the strength there, so if you still have camera shake, it's probably the audio doing it. Turn that to 0 there. And then if you don't like the ship yelling at you about proximity alert asked, if you don't like it yelling at you about like all of the things you're really close to, you can turn the ship computer verbosity off, and that will essentially mute that computer. You'll still get the warnings of like the little red text that comes up about that, but the computer will stop yelling at you about being too close to geometry or terrain. And then, let's see, finally on settings we have extra binds that you can put in. So I talked about what queue safe does. You can set a queue for that. It's not set by default. Same with ESP. So if you are a combat pilot, I highly recommend setting an ESP key as well, and that way you can toggle it on for combat, and you get that nice effect to keep you on target, to keep your guns aligned, and then you can switch it off for racing when you need to target races and judge distances. And I've just put a list of 3 keys that Star Citizen doesn't use, in case you need some keybinds. Yeah, I'll take a break from talking so much about game settings before we get into the actual racing keybinds themselves and yeah, the next section of this. So any questions at this point?
Think going good?
Love to hear it. You're all absorbing it perfectly. Amazing. A lot of this is like stuff you've probably explored before in the options, but this is what it is. What's good to know from a racing perspective, like how we see it from a racing perspective. So let's get into know your racing keybinds. And again, this is really basic stuff that you already likely know, but I'll just go over it just in case. And it's like a good general checklist of like, here's the keybinds you need to know when you're racing. So when you're in the cockpit itself, of course you'll need to cycle master mode, so that's B by default, and then you can also cycle your operator mode with middle mouse button by default, and nerf light, you all very likely know, is a clear interface, so you don't have to suffer the scanner interface, you don't have to suffer the QT
log off in
interface.
5,
You can
4,
just hide all
3,
of it away. Nerf light is a
aborted.
nice, clear, unobstructed view for racing. And then set thrusters to 100% on keyboard. That is F6 held by default. So that used to be the power triangle adjustment for thrusters, but now if you hold F6, it'll put all the available power blocks for resource network into thrusters that it can. So F6 held for thrusters. Now, what thrusters does, it doesn't increase your speed, it doesn't increase the acceleration that you get. The only thing that setting 100% thrusters does right now in the game is it increases the refill of your boost gauge. So, and one other thing to know about your boost is it doesn't actually consume hydrogen fuel. It's a gamified bar, a free resource that from 0 to 100% that will overcharge your maneuvering thrusters and your main thrusters as well. So you should be using boost all the time, and having thrusters 100% in your resource management will increase the rate at which it refills boost. And if you've ever looked at a data website like SP Viewer or Echo, and you've played with the bars there. Urkel and SPVR have it set up so that you can see the effects of what happens in the data. So you'll see an effect of, and right now, in pretty much every racing ship, they're all very similar. If you don't have 100% thrusters, it'll be around 66 seconds to recharge your base gauge. But if you have all powered thrusters, it reduces it down to 33 seconds to fully recharge it from 0 to 100. So always have that held F6. And then of course to use your base as the chef key, coupled and decoupled toggle is your C key. And then you can use your extra keys that we set earlier, so like GSAF and ESP. Alright, let's talk about sight advantages that you can have in racing. Now, I talked about the FOV, that lets you see a lot more. You can also use head tracking, so TrackIR, Foyt and Toby are common options to see beyond the fixed resolution of your monitor, so judge turns better. And if you don't want to have any of that, FOV is enough. And you can also use free look, which is bound to Z by default, to look around on straight sections. Yeah, I've already talked about that, I'm gonna skip that. It's just, you'll want to fly in nerve flight mode, but I already mentioned that. I've got like extra notes on extra notes. Okay, so that side advantage is nerve flight, clear and obstructed view, easy. Then the next thing you can use for sight advantage, and this is more applicable to night racing, essentially trying to give yourself night vision. We don't have it in game yet in helmets, we've got the low light scopes, but hopefully we get a low light helmet. That would be cool. I'd love that. But by default, your ship's active ping scan with tab can help reveal ground and geometry around you, essentially giving you a short burst of night vision, and you can span that over and over again to keep revealing geometry at night, terrain at night. Very, very useful. We use it a lot around the Ahi ring. Very useful here. So just remember your ping scan can help you see stuff at night. And then Reshade is also an acceptable application to CIG that allows you to add post-processing effects to your game to increase the brightness of pixels of each frame, and that can help you see on the darker sides of planets and moons again. Again, you might see some Daymar really, like some people that really get into it, run Reshade and try and give themselves night vision on the other side of Daymar. Same can be applied here. You can increase the brightness of pixels and see the platforms around the Ahi ring a lot more clearly. Alright, we're finally into the key points on how to go fast in racing. All of the setups done, all of the flight control overviews done, and sight stuff you can do to make you and everyone around you have a safer and better racing experience. Now we're going to get into the advanced flight techniques themselves. So, let's talk about coupled versus decoupled mode. This is like always a fun debate amongst backers, but in professional racing, in atmospheric space racing, understanding the difference between the two will help you improve your ship's performance. So when you're flying in coupled, the intelligent flight control system automatically fires all ship thrusters to bring your ship to a stop when no input is given to any direction. So in short, if you're not controlling all three possible directions of thrust in coupled mode when you're making a turn, the ship will be constantly fighting you to apply brakes in all directions you're not using to slow you down. You also lose out on the ability to fully utilize the aerodynamics of the ship. Another downside of coupled mode is the fuel consumption. Because of all the thrusters that are firing, you're wasting hydrogen fuel on brakes you don't need, and this impacts your performance in longer endurance races where conserving fuel can be the difference between finishing strong or running dry before the end. So therefore, racing in decoupled is recommended where you have full control of your ship its thrusters, and can make proper use of its aerodynamics for braking instead. Technique number 2. We're gonna talk about reducing drag, which is what I like to call ship nose to TVI. And this is very applicable to atmospheric racing, which we'll be doing today. This is one of the most important techniques to master if you want to improve your speed. So when your crosshair, or in other words your ship's nose, and velocity indicator is aligned, you're exposing the most aerodynamic forward cross-section of your ship to reduce the effects of drag as much as possible. And this enables you to accelerate at a much faster rate. And then we're going to talk about the optimal turning and speed management strategy in atmospheric racing now that you know that. So knowing that your drag is reduced as much as possible when your forward velocity indicator is aligned with your crosshair, this sets you up for the next technique in mastering the art of racing in atmosphere. So when you're making a turn in atmosphere, you can utilize your most powerful turn rate and strafing thruster, typically pitch up and strafe up combined, to make a gentle turn where your velocity indicator and your crosshair stay together as much as possible. And in this turn, you'll reduce drag. This results in minimal speed loss, and you end up carrying more speed through the turn. Now this isn't always possible, so to minimize further speed loss, you should try to keep the forward velocity indicator on the front of your screen at all times. And also consider reducing your speed just a little bit and let your aerodynamics do most of the turning work for you. So that's very applicable in like XGR time trial tracks where you're turning all the time. Yarrow Valley, Snake Pit, you're turning all the time. But what you can do is you can set up a much wider racing line, and you can keep your TVI in front, your forward TVI in front of you at all times, reducing drag, carrying more momentum through the turns. That's the difference between an average pilot and someone that knows how to carry momentum through a turn and reduce drag as much as possible. That is the difference between a pro racer and the average pilot. So if your velocity indicator ever goes off the screen, you risk inducing so much drag that you end up in a stall, and it costs you a lot of extra time to recover from. So if you practice these 3 flight techniques of decoupled, ship nose to TVI on straights, and TVI management through a turn, you'll see significant improvement in your flight times and your race lap times, just your flight overall in any aspect of the game. So with that, I'm gonna just get you all to tune into my live stream right now. I will give you a live demonstration of the effects of drag, that all of the stuff I talked about. So we've got our ship set up, we've got all of our flight controls ready to go. So I'm gonna take a turn, but I'm gonna induce a lot of drag. So yeah, I am thrusting up to my ship's unboosted speed in atmosphere, so now we have the best aerodynamic profile to get up to speed, and then I'm gonna just whip turn, and you'll see that my speed reduces to about 250 if I wanted to make a turn. But what you can do instead, like I said, you can combine strafe thrusters, so strafe up, and your pitch up together. This is a unique thing about Star Citizen, and a unique thing about spaceships in general. Planes and jet fighters don't have VTOL thrusters assisting them in turns. Our spaceships do. So when you're making a turn, a very similar one like that, let's say we're going to Caplan to get the TVI and ship nose together, start with your strafe up input, and then just follow with pitch up, follow the TVI. And there, you see my speed is 371 meters per second. It's significantly better. And around this track, it is the difference between being ultra slow and ultra fast. On a track like this, where it's so big and there's so few turns, your racing line and setting up these smooth TVI turns is the difference between being super slow and ultra fast. So this is how you get on the pro racer level, and this can be taken anywhere, like in any race track situation. Just sit up, so if you can't do that, just keep your TVI in front and then try and snap them back together to reduce drag as much as possible. And you'll always be maintaining the highest top speed you can in atmosphere. So there you go, that is a practical demonstration, the difference of 271 meters per second in the turn to 371, so it's absolutely massive how much drag affects your speed. Alright, now we're going to get into some of the more, like that, I would say like the 5% of things that you can do. So that's about 95% of what you need to do to be as fast as the pro racers. This last 5%, this is like just the small little things that you can do right now, like ship modification. Let's talk about that. So we'll talk about ship modification that you can do to scrape milliseconds off your time. So this is what pro racers are doing to get the absolute best time possible on the leaderboard. So ship modification, it's applicable to both atmospheric and space racing. And as we know, Star Citizen is a very physically simulated video game where everything down to the bullets and ship weapons have a mass value assigned to them. So if you see a professional racer, like maybe you've watched Splend Shepherd from Legacy Fleet do some streams on Twitch, or Jackadan do some streams on Twitch, and they're out at Snake Pit, and they're using the P-52, which is really good for Snake Pit. You'll often see them when they fly out to the track, shooting all of the bullets out of the melon. That's because in the actual data of the game, every bullet has a mass value, and that's calculated into the weight of your ship. So they use reduce in weight to get the absolute lightest version of the P-52 you can possibly do. So right now we can't throw the bullets out, we have to shoot them out. Even missiles have weight kg values assigned to them too. So it's possible, it's possible to reduce the weight of your ship by removing components. So on dedicated racing craft such as the P-72 and the M50, you get a significant benefit from removing just weapons alone. Weapons are a massive amount of weight, they're huge. But what you should also do is go all the way and remove the missiles, remove the racks. Even the racks have a kg mass value. Shields as well can go, we have no use for shields. Leave only the quantum drive for access to nav mode, a single power plant and a cooler. That is the minimum you need to run a spaceship and for it to fly. So if you want to scrape the bottom of the barrel of like that, because it's so physically simulated, this will give you maybe 1 or 2 meters per second speed gain. And in the P-72, M50, it might be a little bit more, because these ships are so light, and removing such a heavy gun or heavy weapon or heavy component from the ship, you'll definitely feel and notice a speed difference because of the way everything's physically simulated. Now, let's talk about future stuff in Star Citizen. This is a cool topic. This is my favorite topic. So let's talk now. We talked about components. Let's talk about the different kinds of components. There's a lot of different components in the game. You'll be very familiar with military, civilian, and industrial, but no one knows what competition components do, except for us pro racers. So in the game data, competition grade components have the least mass of any component. So if you absolutely want to optimize for speed, put in competition grade components. They have about they're about 3/4 lighter than any standard component. The difference is so small though that you might not want to even bother with this. I do hope that they have a more pronounced effect than just being low mass components. I think it's cool. I think it's a great thing that should still be in competition components, but I really do hope they do a lot more when it comes to crafting. But just know that they're the lightest components. If you are so keen to get the best of the best times, you'll put competition components in your ship. And other things. There are thruster swaps coming to the game. Now, you might have seen this. The M50 has always been planned to have an engine and thruster swap kit. It often appears on the roadmap, but it doesn't make it into live as a priority. There was one inside Star Citizen we could see the thruster swap completed, where the M50 was using a set of square thrusters instead of its usual round thrusters. It's my hope that the plan for engine swap is that you can optimize your ship for atmospheric or space flight, with one set of thrusters being more hydrogen efficient in atmosphere for longer endurance races, whereas another set might sacrifice hydrogen efficiency for raw power to be the top choice for time trials and spaceship or space racing, the zero-G racing. And then finally, engineering, refueling, component durability, overheating, fire propagation, charge, overclocking and crafting. There's a lot more depth planned for the game that will make it even more complex and fun, and all of it will stem from this resource network development where all components, pipes and wires around the ship will be physically simulated with how dependencies on each other in the network and properties that will give them all strengths and weaknesses, and then crafting turns that up to 11, and what you build in tier 1 to 3 components, tier 1 to 5 spaceships makes a significant difference in your ship speed and its attributes in all of the components as well, and how they perform in your spaceship. That is a future in the Star Citizen I am greatly looking forward to, where you can be rewarded for crafting the best tier 3 thrusters in the game, or the most hydrogen efficient thrusters in the game. A tier 5 racing ship excites me greatly. So that's Star Citizen 1.0 stuff I'm really looking forward to. And that concludes my workshop on professional spaceship racing today. We will be going in-game. We're out here at the Ahi Ring. I will talk you through the Crux Cup 24 hour. Are there any questions after all of that?
Not on
no,
this
just-
time. Good.
Amazing. How
Just,
do you all feel? Do you feel faster already?
Feel more knowledgeable. That's for sure.
Amazing.
There's also the one thing with fuels coming in as well. We'll have different fuels in future thanks to the Starfarer's refinery.
Completely, even different fuel types will matter. Like fuel that burns slower will be great for endurance races. Fuel that burns faster but gives you more power output. All of this stuff will be so useful in different kinds of racing. And here today, we're practicing in an alpha for an endurance race. With all of this on the horizon, it's so exciting to me. Like the future. I'm so glad you're all here for it. I'm actually, team captains and Midnight Bard knows I have been itching to get Test back out into the community racing scene, the ship racing scene for a long time. Test is probably one of the the oldest original bugs that came to the Crux Cup in the very first races we ever ran. So in 2945, 2946, we had Captain Richard, we had Meyer, we had a she top pro racer of their class come in and just do extremely well in the Crux Cup. Test has a deep history with spaceship racing, so it's actually made me really happy that you all come out here and are starting to bring that back. And you're tackling the Crux Cup 24 hour no less. I've been building up this competition for maybe 4 years now, and we've been sitting on a red and green light as to whether we'll run the 24 hour, and it's all been based on like how stable is the game? Like, is there, as hangar service is going to be enough? Are the ships in a good state that we could fly this? And finally, year after year it's been 999, 3x isn't good enough, 4.0 is good enough. We got replication layer, we can keep the servers going, we can keep the ships going, we can come up with a plan to this. So green light for this event, and it's so good to have you here. Thank you as well from me, who has been doing this a very long time. It's so good to see a familiar org face come out here today. Thank you guys.
No
Happy to
problem.
be here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time.
Alright. That's alright. So, let's see. Crux Cup 24 hour. I talked about, like, in the very beginning of this, the flight out here to Milford, that the speed limit's here, that you'll be given one of these beams as a place to stage your racing team. So all of you will do that here, and I will give
Anzia log
your
off in
beam
5,
location at
4,
the qualifying
3,
announcement
2,
stream.
1.
So,
Aborted.
qualifying is closing in 7 days. So what I'm going to do, while I've got you all here, is I, as an Anzia racing official, will live validate runs that you do today. And I will count them as qualifying runs as valid and true. Just like the FIA would do for Formula 1, or the Mons has race officials that can do lifetime servicing as well. So that way we capture as many of you as possible, we get your team qualified, because that is an important heap to have in a racing competition, as we need people that are motivated to race, that are motivated to do time trials and competing. But I'm only going to ask you to do it once in Star Citizen, because Star Citizen, we can only suffer in short bursts because of how it is. So let's try and get this done today. Is there anyone not familiar with the Ahumahi Ring racetrack that we'll be using for the Crux Cup 24 hour?
I am not familiar with it.
Same.
Fresh.
Alright.
Yep.
I will, let's do a lap together. You're all out here. Yeah, start your engines.
Quick question.
Carefully take off around each other. Yes? Go
Should
for
I
it.
stop recording, or is there more that should be shared? I'll record this if you think it's
let's put a
valuable.
break in the recording. Put a
That
break in the
layout's
recording
probably
so
good.
you've got the... You'll help validate the team. It'll create legitimacy when I go to the Anzia Racing Committee and say, they didn't submit SCR.GG time trials, but this video is proof and I was there live. Yeah, so it'll help me a lot. It'll also help you a lot. Because a lot of racing and all of the stuff I talked about today can be a beautiful journey of self-improvement. You don't have to race against others, you don't have to compete against each other. If you, like, some of the beautiful parts of racing is you can just say, I'll just race my own lap time. I'll set a lap time and then I'll try and beat it. And then when you beat it, when you get the lower lap time, that is visible proof you're getting better at flying the spaceships and you're getting better at this game. And that's where I began. Like I started as an event organizer. I saw what these pro racers could do. I'm like, I want to be as good as them. I want to learn what they know and to get as good as they have. So let's do a practice lap together. So we are at Milford. This is the furthest industrial platform out of the horizon, all the way across the car city. We're going to be using 4 industrial platforms today to make up the track. We fly through the tunnel end to end. They make the checkpoint. So this is Milford Tunnel. We're going out the exit. We're going towards Caplan. Then we're going to Providence, which you'll be familiar with. Go through Providence Tunnel. Then we'll go through Shimura Tunnel and then back out to Milford, and that makes up the circuit for today's track. So, following behind EchoBit's marker, I will just fly at the unboosted speed. If you need to catch up, use boost. So, we're flying out across the longest straight. This is called the Gentleman Mile, and it is the longest straight on the track. This is how you'll begin the Crux Cup 24 hour. You'll launch from the beams on Milford, and you'll fly out to the Caplan straight away. It's just a gentle right turn, towards Caplan, a slight decline in elevation. You'll go across these fuel tanks here, and you want to enter Caplan on the left. Now the entry to Caplan is blocked by 3 columns of signage, and it's also blocked by a large cluster of cargo containers on the right. So there is a entry point on the right of the vertical signs that come down in front of the tunnel. You can sit on there as the 24-hour racing ship, so I encourage you to land that line. That is the more optimal line. But if you want to play it safe today, just go left, go wide into the Caplan entry, and also remember to use your ping. It's night time now. Ping is your night vision. If you don't have any reshades set up, tab ping to enter into Caplan. And also, if you can, try and practice the new flight techniques I taught you. So try and keep your forward TBI on the front of your screen at all times. We're now going to take a sharp right turn up to the east at 90 degrees. At a incline, we're going up the Echo climb towards Providence platform. We're going to enter on the right. We enter in on the closest tunnel to our direction. Providence is the only one that we enter on the right. Yeah, everything else generally is on the left. Now, when you're entering Providence, this is a bit dangerous. You have an elevation change to deal with, so I recommend going in wide, change your elevation first, and then turn in. And that just makes the entry to the tunnel extremely safe. A lot of the ship crashes in Crux Cup come from this platform, and that's because racers will try and cut on the inside of the tunnel without dealing with the elevation. They'll hit the ceiling of the tunnel, or they'll clip one of their cargo containers on the way in, which is extremely dangerous. And death is a massive setback in endurance racing. Like in our usual endurance racing competitions, they are 1-hour races, but in the Crux Cup 24-hour, it's even more massive of a time setback. But we do have the added benefit in the Crux Cup 24-hour of full ship replacements. You're the backup racer ready to go to launch straight away. So entry onto Shimura, nice gentle turn into that. Again, an elevation change, so set it up wide. And I recommend going straight down the middle if you're landing these tunnels and tracks. You'll just avoid all of the cargo trains and any other nasty geometry there. And then out of Shimura, 90 degree right turn, we're on Rubber Ducky Pass. Oh, and we're going back to Milford. So I just noticed one of my friends is out here as well. Gervais the Gnome, also racing the Crux Cup 24-hour. It's kind of cool that you can just log into Star Citizen now, and like, yeah, there he is. He's doing the reverse circuit. He's practicing for Pro GP. He's in his 300 series, and you can just tell, like, okay, you're out here for Crux Cup practice. I can tell. I really like that about this track. It feels so much more like a community track now that we have such a big player count. But again, Rubber Ducky Pass is the second longest straight, so it takes quite a while to get out here, but it's nice, open, empty space. On Milford entry, it's a 90 degree right turn, so set it up wide, make sure it's a nice safe entry, and then that completes the circuit of the Ahi-Mahi lane. So there you go. That is what we are doing with the Crux Cup 24-hour. Just a leap of this. I'll go through it one more time unbasted. So we'll go through Milford. Now let's practice our smooth TBI turn, initiate with a strafe up, and then keep your ship nose and TBI together as you align to Caplan. And there you go. Once it's on, once your TBI is on Caplan, let that go and level up. And then we will just wait until we get to Caplan.
And your ship unboosted is fast.
It is fast. That's alright. Keep following the party markers in front of you. We'll get to right together, and I'll re-group us up after the slap, and we'll do a time trial run. I'll try and respect as much of your time as possible. We'll get some live timing done, and then we'll just get into anything else you want today to practice. Like, I'm happy to do a live simulated Crux Cup 24-hour launch talk you through all of that. That might actually be good today, if we did it live together. So I can give you a simulated launch of the 24-hour, which will be standing start and FPS outside of your ship, engines off. Essentially, the classic Le Mans start. We're bringing that into Press in for the first time.
That was close. I was watching the stream just then. That was...
I mean, that's right. That's why you gotta ping, so you remember where all the geometry is. Yeah. I don't know how I can talk and also race at the same time, which is so demanding, but I guess I've been doing it for so long now, it's just... It's become a little bit easier. yeah. So yeah, practice all the techniques up to you. Definitely that ship nose to TV item, it's super important in racing. All of the pros will be using it to try and reduce drag, so we'll use it here to simultaneously level ourselves out and turn into Providence. You can see I set that up quite early, and then it's just a gentle turn in, and we've got such a good carried speed into Providence Tunnel. So if you can do that all the time, as much as possible, around the Ahe Rim, absolutely do it. Your lap times will be so much better. Shimura right turn decline here. A little bit sharper, so we couldn't do too much sled turning, but as long as you're forward TVIs and generally in your cockpit area or your HUD area, like you're reducing drag really well, that's completely fine. Here we can smoothen this out. It's a nice gentle turn into the tunnel, so just gotta take the right time for it. And you can test it by just tapping strafe up until you're satisfied. Put the TVI where you want it. I'll put it in the middle of the platform. And then get ready for your sharp turn. This one you can't really avoid. You're supposed to go off TVI for this. That, as you can see, keep it in the cockpit. Strafe up and then pull them back together. And then straight as possible. And here, you want to utilize your based on the straights. This is my final piece of advice for like flying this sort of track, is you want to utilize based on the straights more than you do in the turns. Of course, use based in turns if it's an emergency and you just need to like save yourself from an emergency, or maybe avoid another racer and just make the turns safer. But what basting does on the straight, what basting on a straight does is it maximizes your ship's top speed time in atmosphere. So the more time you sit on, say the Razor's 491 meters per second, the faster you'll be as well. So you can come off the base in the turns, do your smooth turn, and then once your TVI and ship nose are together, boost once again, and then you'll be maximizing your top speed up time. That is, final part of succeeding in the Crux Cup in our PE version of the races. Yeah, so I'll wait for you at Milford. Let's all gather up. We'll pick a race team platform beam to stage the 24-hour. We'll also do live time trials, so...
Oh.
What I would say
fast.
is...
Sorry.
Yeah,
First casualty.
You want to be going fast. Oh no! That's okay. We're immortal, we can just respawn.
Yeah, I like that all your gear is sitting there waiting for you, close enough to Orson.
That's it. So I'm gonna just position myself hovering at the entry to Milford. So in a hot lap, in a time trial, for ACR.GG, for example, all the time trials are done as a rolling start. So most racers will position themselves by hovering just a little bit further out from Milford at the entry, but 5 kilometers out is enough to build up speed to then go into the lap at full speed. So you start at full speed and you end at full speed as well. Alright, so Renae, if I could get you to just mark this position for everyone, and I'm going to sit on the start line itself, and I'm going to bring up my race timing app and put you all in it. I'll wait for you all to get out here, and then we will race you all together around the track. So we've got 10 teams coming to the Crux Cup 24-hour. There are 11 beams on Milford, so 10 for the racing teams, and then 1 for the race officials, being 11 at the back, which is the start line. That's where the race officials will be. That's where we'll be race timing you.
Someone got an email. Maybe it's not work. Actually shocked at how much fuel the razors have used. You're down at 65%, aim. Is that what it says there?
Very likely in the 24-hour, you'll have to put the razor. It doesn't have a great flight time. I think it's 1 hour 44. Yeah, 1 hour 44 minutes. So it won't last the maximum 3-hour seat time that you can have. So you'll need to put it, swap someone else out. Maybe they can do a couple laps and then you could send your other racer out. Or that racer can just do however many laps the racer can do. That's for your team to decide. Probably one of the few ships that will need pit stops. Everything else is like pretty good at like that 2-hour 30 range, like the M50, and everything else is 3 hours or above. So like the P72 was actually the most hydrogen fuel efficient. It can do 18 hours without stopping, but of course our rules will stop here with a 3-hour time limit for your own health and safety. Yeah, you can only race a maximum seat time of 3 hours, and then you go on cooldown. So we have an app, a 24-hour race timing app, which will show you how much active seat time your active racer has accumulated. When they pit, you'll see that cooldown, like the time slowly cool down, which you can then, use them. You can relaunch them if you need to in an emergency. Your previously active race will go on cooldown, and then once that has cooled down, you can race for another 3.
Are we allowed to bring a staff error for on-site refueling, or you want us to refuel back at the spaceport?
So no refueling will need to be done in the Crux Cup 24-hour. We are going to ask you to do full ship replacements instead. So we will be staging full ship replacements with a backup racer of yours ready to go in the Crux Cup 24-hour. And this is so that you don't have to deal with the staff error shenanigans and the bugginess around that. It doesn't work in atmosphere at the moment. It works in space, but it doesn't work in atmosphere. It also decouples you from the spaceport and the hangar issues that you might encounter, the elevator issues, the hospital door issues you might encounter. So the way we've done it and set it up to make it as streamlined as possible, and the rest is you have one active racer with the ship running around doing laps in the Crux Cup 24-hour. And then you will also have your race team, any of your 6 members. I recommend having 2 on minimum at any time, so that you always have a backup racer and the ship that needs to be raced ready to launch. And what that does is if the active racer crashes in game or to desktop, then your backup racer stages on your platform beam, launches right away. So you have essentially a lap reset, and your new racer takes over and pushes time for your team. And then that gives your racer that had crashed time to respawn, get their ship, deal with any bugs that Star Citizen might have, make their way out. As long as your backup ship keeps going around, keeps placing routes safely and securely, you can give your previously active racer time to come back out. If you have a 3rd team member or a 4th team member at the time as well, they can also stage full replacement backup ships ready to launch for your team. So it's essentially just one ship and full replacements of that ship, and lots of racers trying to back your active racer up and be ready to launch for your team. You're just maintaining one ship flying around the whole race. So yeah, a lot more streamlined. We've thought a lot about this. When Starfarer refueling is reliable and good and fun and atmosphere, 100% we will include it. We've been preparing for years. Sigalian from Ultima Energy Elements, our biggest star fan, and Stan. He's here out actively racing, but he would prefer the Starfarer gameplay as well. And when that is working nicely, then we'll bring it in as well. And same with hangars. When hangars are working properly and nicely and elevated in, then we can introduce the pit stops that we do with them open and play. But because the races are an hour, most ships don't need to refuel at all. And when last domain, them had their flight efficiency increased double in Mermaids. So from 3x we went from half an hour to 1 hour flight times generally. Last domaids doubled that. Now we have 1 hour, maybe even more, like 2 hours and 4 hour flight times. It's a significant increase in flight times and atmosphere. So yeah, that's how we'll do the Crux Cup 24 hour to make the experience, and that's what we like to do in Anzia racing, is optimize the experience to make it as nice as possible. I know that was a really long-winded answer, but I think it's really cool to know, like all the reasons why, the depth of how much we thought about this, and how we want to make the experience fun for you.
It's better than a short answer that doesn't really answer why.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And it gives Ronin some time to respawn. So that's not a bad thing at all.
It.
Yeah, I couldn't get my...
We will begin live... That's okay. Yeah, we'll begin our live time trial run in about 5 minutes, so you've got time to get out here.
Janet,
No, I need to stage it.
I'm in an event.
But yeah,
Can
feel
you
free
go
to
upstairs? Can you close the door?
yourselves.
It's okay if you guys are laughing, but I'm
the
recording
rest
something for people.
Alright.
Copy.
I'm gonna go grab a coffee then.
Coffee time. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Look after yourself. Have a stretch if you need to. Now's a good time.
You're creeping forward, Zach. You might want to check that.
So did you say
Sorry,
race?
am I forward? I heard my name.
Yeah, someone's creeping forward.
Your vehicle is creeping forward at a...
Oh, right. I have gravity comp on. Yeah.
Just make sure you're not crashing into something.
Yeah.
So do you race in nav mode? Is that it? Is that what?
Race and nav mode. SEM is speed limited for combat. There are situations where SEM mode is okay. And I mean, that's in the snubs, it's by force. But in short circuits, short time trial circuits like Yara Valley or Snakepit, SEM is actually okay, and that's why, if you look at the Arena Commander boards, there's a weird edge case where the P52 has a higher boost speed than even the M50 and the Razor. And the only reason it does really well on Snake Pit is because the track is so short. It's always turns. The M50 really can't utilize any straights to sort of get an advantage, but the P52 can regenerate a lot of boost throughout that course, and it has a better aerodynamic profile. Ends up being faster, even though it's an SEM only ship. So, but in the Ahi Mahi ring, where the M50 can maintain a much higher unboosted and boosted straight line speed all the time and won't be pulled back into an SCM unboosted speed, M50 comes out on top on this track.
Okay.
Oh, so that was actually a question as well. We're not just flying the M50, are we? We have to fly multiple ships. That was...
That's correct. So, the Crux Cup 24-hour, like, our normal endurance races are like a team of 2 and you just, like, pick a ship each that you want to fly and you stick to that ship throughout the whole race. But to make things far more interesting and to actually make things more fair for you against other professional racers, I have said to everyone, every 6-hour period of the 24-hour, you need to change your ship chassis. So, you need to pick 4 unique ship chassis to race throughout the competition. So in the first 6 hours of the event, let's say you race, let's say the Peregrine, then there'll be like a sufficient warning from race direction, like a 30-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute. Okay, you need to put and change the ship chassis that you're running to your next unique ship chassis. So let's say it's the Razor, and you race the Razor for another 6 hours, then you switch to, say, the P-72 for another 6 hours, and then the final 6 hours of the 24-hour, another ship chassis again. So, let's say the 350R. Now, the order of those ships is completely up to your team. And that's what's really throwing these professional racers, is they're like, do we start with a strong ship like the M50 or Razor, and then finish the race on a weaker ship? And they're like, trying to come up with like, reasons why you should start with a faster and a slow ship and then end strong. Or, you come with a balanced approach, where you start strong, and then you switch to a slow ship, and you just see where you are on the field, and then you lead with like an M50 or Razor if you haven't done that yet. You're strong in the middle, and then you're slower in the end. So you sort of know where you're gonna fall. But yeah, like the order is completely up to you. There's so much creative choice, and the 7 dedicated racing ships that you have to pick from, and the order of them, like completely up to you. And if you have a preference, there's very likely, you know, if you love the M50, and there's a lot of people that do, or the Razor or the Peregrine, you know, you can arrange with your team mates to say, hey, I'm available for, you know, this 4 hours of the 24-hour. I'll help you with the Peregrine stunt, whenever that is, or maybe just align the Peregrine for that stunt. So that is something your team will need to discuss and organise, is the 4 ships that you pick, that you'll need to swap into every 6 hours. You also have the 24-hour scheduling app, so on AnziaRacing.com you can make an account with Anzia. Most of you, I think, are already programmed into that, so when you make an account and you go into AnziaRacing.com, you'll see that you're part of the test Squadron 24-hour race team, and you will get access to a 24-hour scheduler, and you can, hour by hour, check in when you'll be available, and when you hover over the checkboxes for each hour of the race, it will display in your local time when that is, and what hour of the race it is. So you can clearly show Rhiannon and any of your team members when you'll be available. This is a basic tool that I wanted to give everyone since we're doing a 24-hour. But if you come up with a more advanced scheduler like an Excel, completely okay. But this one will also help inform race direction about when you'll be racing, when we can expect to see you on the server, on your race team pit beam. So do fill that out, both for yourselves and for us, and then if you want to do your own event scheduler, that's completely fine as well.
I did have one other question. The Razor and the Razor LX, so they're mutually the same ship, is what you're listing them as, yeah?
So, I have written them mutually exclusive as a chassis choice, that when...
So time in one counts the time of the other?
So what I'm saying is, you can only have one Razor as a 6-hour period ship. So basically, if you choose the Razor, you might lead with the base Razor. But that's just from a unique ship chassis point of view. When it comes to the actual race, when it's time to do your Razor segment, it's actually okay if you use a Razor Alex because maybe that's the only ship you have. It's an approved, whitelisted ship for the Razor section. It's just that you can't have two Razors in your unique ship chassis choice. So
Yeah, that's
if
fine.
you have
yeah.
a base Razor and a Razor Alex, if you say, like, we're going to do a Razor as one of our unique chassis, and then you come out onto the Crux Cup 24-hour and you race, like, say your first active racer is in a base Razor, and then your backup racer is in a Razor Alex, completely fine by race direction. It's a legal ship. We know you're doing your Razor segment right now. Either of those ships is okay if that's all you have. Like, they both perform the same. We just want you to do one 6-hour segment of a Razor or of
The same
Razor
goes for the
racing.
Omega and Gamma.
Same goes for the Omega and Gamma. If you have an Omega, use that. If you have a Gamma, use that. As long as we know that's your unique ship chassis choice for a 6-hour period, all will be fine to use the variants on the day.
So the 6-hour periods you call ship change on the 6-hour mark. All teams change their ships. Is that correct?
Yeah, every single team will change their ship. There'll be significant warning from race direction.
Okay.
Gentleman Chairs, our race director, he does 24-hour endurance races in iRacing for the Australian Aries racing team. He is the one that came up with, like, all of our technical regulations for this tournament, and he'll be giving you all the directions in Discord of, like, alright racers, we're coming up on a 6-hour period, 30 minutes until you need to change ship chassis to your next unique ship chassis. So he'll give you very clear call-outs of, alright, you've been racing the ship for the first 6-hour period, get ready to switch to your next one. There'll be a 10-minute, 5-minute warning, and then anyone that goes over that, their penalty will be discounted laps. So if you continue racing the Razor past, let's say the Razor is the opening one you pick, if you continue racing beyond the 6-hour period, your laps will be discounted. Our race timers will be told not to press your record your lap times until you have changed to your next ship chassis. So it is a very, very important part of the race to switch ship chassis, and that's not just for your benefit, but it's for, like, trying to balance out having all kinds of races. We've got pro races coming, we've got amateur races coming. We want there to be a good shot at this race from all perspectives, and to make sure that people that like certain racing ships have a good chance to race one of their favourites, and to have a lot of the ships showcased as well. I think it adds such a unique creative choice to the race. So yeah, that's how that 6-hour rule will work. There's also the 3-hour seat time, like I said, so you can have an active racer race for 3 hours. That's for your own health and safety. We've had an internal argument in the committee for, like, the past year, and it gets very heated with, like, no, I just want to race the 24-hour all by myself. And then there's the other spectrum, which is like XGR and Glenn, who has suffered a personal health injury because of spaceship racing, who argued the side of, no, you need to respect gamer health and pull them off the track, so that, for their own health and safety and the safety of the others around them, they get pulled off. So there was, like, a debate about what's the maximum seat time we can allow a single racer to do, and it varied quite a bit, but we landed on 3. We think 2 hours is, like, the optimal racing time around this track, and we've tested it a lot before you start to get wrist strain or potential injury. And it's the same in iRacing. 2 hours is a general stint number that 24-hour teams come up with, that say, like, if you can drive for 2 hours in this race, and then we'll do a race as well. We're saying 3 hours just so that, you know, the min-maxers that want to race for the full 3 hours of their seat time can do so, then they must pit. And then they need to swap. And we'll be monitoring that with the cooldowns, so we'll have a cooldown bar. You'll build up seat time on the 24-hour race timing app. And then when that racer comes off, that bar will decrease. And if you go over the 3 hour, if you're getting close to having the 3 hour sleep time, again, Gentleman Jazzo Race Director will give you sufficient warning. We say, hey, here's Gerber the Gnome from Sanguis Luna, though it will actually be racing the 24 hour. Gerber, you've been racing for 3 hours. Well, you're coming up on your 3 hour mark. You need to pit or your laps will be discounted. You need to swap with someone else and give them a fair chance to enjoy the race. So there's also that, not hogging the whole race for your team as well, making sure everyone has their health looked after and has enjoyment of the Crux Cup 24 hour too. Like you could tell, we thought a lot about this as well. So yeah, those are the two kind of key differences that are not typical in our usual endurance races. These are brand new rules that even the pro racers haven't seen before, and I hope you find them fun, and I hope everyone will get a good shot to enjoy the Crux Cup 24 hour together.
Got a quick question. During the race, the 3 hour limit that ends, you gotta wait another 3 hours, and then at the minimum amount of wait time, then you could put in another 3. Is that correct? Because with a minimum 6...
No, it's not a hard 3 hour limit cooldown. So what will happen is, like, there will be seat time build up from 0 to 100%, and then as soon as you come off racing and you become inactive, the cooldown will start ticking down immediately. So like, you can come back on if you need to. If there's an emergency, let's say your replacement racer immediately crashes into Caplan, you as the 3 seat time racer should be able to cover, will allow you to do a lap so that you can find another one of your team members to come in and stage and then launch. Like, there will be edge cases where it's like, alright, something devastating has happened to your team. We need to be a little bit more lax with it so that we can get a new racer of yours launched. So, our race director knows about all these cases that will come up, and we will talk to you and communicate with you and say, yep, it's okay, but so it sucks it happened, your backup racer immediately crashed. We'll let your previously active racer run to keep placing laps for your team until maybe a third team member comes online, or that backup racer can respawn, get their ship back out to the grid and relaunch and take over again. So there will be generous edge cases like that, but only under the conditions of devastating things happening to your team.
Okay, maybe I word it a little differently. If we had a minimum of 6 people on our team, right, that leaves 2 of our members needing to, or potentially all of us need to put in the remaining 6 hours of time, right, that we would have at the end of it. If we all had 3 hour shifts, right, we would have time we have to make up.
So, let's say, if I were to, if it was extremely optimized, in the most optimized situation, for the first 3 hours, you would have, racer number 1, say M50, do the first 3 hours, then you would pit. Racer number 2 would come on in the M50, do the next 3 hours, and then they would go off. It would go down to races 3, 4, 5, 6, and then by the time 24 hour comes around, you'd be back onto racer 1 and 2. So there's, that's the most optimized scenario.
Okay.
But that isn't how time works, and that isn't how people work. So what I encourage you to do is to fill out the 24-hour schedule. Just everyone fill out what you're going to be available for. That'll give Rio a high-level overview of when everyone's available, and then you can adjust. You can say would it be okay if you push into just 1 AM so that we get 2 races covering that time, and it will all sort of evolve from there as you fill out your time schedules. Yeah. anytime I need to refer to the team captain, I'm just going to use your name. Be like, that's helpful to you and everyone. I'm ready to go with the live time trial.
So we're pointed at Milford
How's
right
everyone
now, right?
doing? Are you all in position ready to launch down Milford?
Except for Ryonin.
Oh,
Rio, go out there. Get out there.
we're
Let's get
pointing-
your live qualification done.
We're pointing at Milford right now, right?
Pointing at Milford, this is the first beam that you cross marks the start-finish line to the race. As you go out the exit, head towards Caplan, up to Providence, to Shimura, and then back to Milford. And then, yeah, cross over, and that will be your qualifying run, as live and validated by me as presiding officer of Anzia Racing. And that way you don't have to do the SCR.GG time trials, because we've only got 7 days to do those. But for anyone that isn't able to do it today, please encourage them to just record themselves doing that, put it on SCR.GG. It's a little bit of extra effort, but this is also a filter that we have to just eliminate people that are low effort that would like to come to the event and maybe ruin it. They're discouraged if they have to do any work, like time trial work, so really encourage your team members to do it, because it proves to us you've learnt the track, and you'll be safe around it, like you understand the track, and you're motivated to come and race. Alright, let's do a live hot lap. Let's get this underway as quickly as possible for you all. Thank you all for coming, by the way. I think we're up to like 2 hours of talking about this stuff, but let's try and get this done. So let's do a live launch. I will do a live countdown for you.
Are we all going, or just...
races,
All of us at once?
Get ready. All of you at once. I can handle you. I've been racing 40 timers, 40 races at once, going around this track for many years. I can handle like 5 of you, it's no problem. Yeah. We have the technology. I've built a whole lap around this. So let's get ready. In 10 seconds we will launch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
I don't know if I'm going to the right place.
Left, Rob, left.
Hello, Ryu and...
There it is.
Yeah, go left. Rob, go left. Follow Ryu and Renae's marker.
Over here.
Now, the time doesn't matter. The thing that matters most is qualifying this team. So that's what we're here for. And you can create an org event later, where you try and push your times to get them better. You can do that. You can submit another SCR.GG run and improve your qualifying lap time today. And also, like, if you see that this lap time getting lower up, you'll definitely see a big improvement as you learn this track.
Yeah.
Seeing that lap time come down and being like, yeah, I got down 5 seconds today on the Ahi Mahi ring. I'm getting way better at flying this M50. It feels really good.
And the problem was too, when we went through it, it was like dark, and so I wasn't seeing where we were going. I was just following a pip.
It's probably best to
Tap
learn
thing,
it dark,
tap thing.
actually.
It's the other half is learning the track.
Oh.
The Mustang is dreadful slow.
Yeah, it's interesting. They all have the interceptor archetype, so they're all generally faster than combat ships. Like anything with a low amount of hard points got significantly speed buffed. Racing ships, they're still top of the charts, but they're all tiered in different speeds. And in a way that makes them interesting. Like the pro racers can't just race their Razor or M50 the entire Crux Cup 24-hour. They have to race a slower tier racing ship. They have to make that choice and have to suffer the slower speeds. So, and yeah, both to your benefit, but also they'll be like, yeah, how do we structure this race? And if I had a recommendation for you, racing in the Crux Cup for the first time in a while, this sort of endurance race, I would say take a balanced approach. Either lead with a slow ship or a fast ship. Completely up to you how you want to lead it initially, but then alternate between a slow and a fast ship throughout the 24-hour. Just have a balanced racing approach, and that way you can sort of, a good picture of where you're going to fall and how your team is doing in the race overall. And like when you do switch to a fast ship, you go, alright, we're gonna kill Red Legion. We're gonna kill Red Monster's team. We're gonna outpace him because he's gonna be in a Mustang and we're gonna be in an M50. Well, outlap Red Nation. You're gonna have some fun in those situations. Whereas a lot of teams might be just doing a gradient of fast to slow or slow to fast. A balanced approach, I think, is gonna be more fun.
Do I go through the Milford all the way, or is it just getting to the start is what you're looking for?
Yep, just fly through at maximum speed to the exit of Milford and then turn around and just await further instructions at the exit of Milford Tunnel. Good luck, Renae. Hola, good to see you. Ren is also through. Love to see it. And Zach coming in. And
Not too slow.
I think that's user.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Look, there's fun in racing slow, and we also like you might have, if you had a look at the Crux Cup a little more in detail, you'll see like our pro and open GP are all speed tiered structured, just like Le Mans. We've got LMP1, you've got a GT4, a GT3 racing classes. You have different speed tiers. We have that we've got A-Crux, but AX2, AX3 as the speed tiers, and we just classify whatever the racing ships are into those speed tiers. So A-Crux is M50 vs Razor. They essentially perform the same. They'll compete against each other this year. Then AX2 is the 300 series, and AX3 is the Mustang and Peregrine doing a battle. So yeah, doesn't really matter which racing ship you pick. We have a competition that fits it. And 24-hour also has like opportunity for it as well. If it's your favorite racing ship, definitely tell that to Rio and say, yeah, can we race the Mustang? I love that ship. I got the Omega, or
my favorite racing ship's got to be the 85X.
85X, amazing. So like I said, the open class and open GP is where you do that. So there's an open class where you can race anything, and 85X is not slow. It's up there with the Herald, it's up there with the Buccaneer. It's incredibly fast, and
I just love how small it is, being able to
win that.
do very tight technical tracks. It's bloody amazing.
I'm with you there. So we have qualified 4 of the test team members today. Congratulations. You will progress to the Crux Cup 24-hour race. We only need, and this is for you, Rio, we only need 2 more test team members to place a valid lap to bring all of test to the Crux Cup 24-hour and qualify your entire team. So only 2 in the next 7 days need to do an SCR.GG time trial. Or maybe you can invite me out if I'm free, and I'll do some more live timing for you. I'm happy to do that. if the timing works out. But yeah, congrats. We're now
Yeah,
giving
thank you.
you... Like, we've got you on course to becoming fast racers. We got you qualified. I'm so glad to have you. Really. I can't say that enough. It makes me so happy to have Jess come back.
Yeah, definitely excited. Really looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
Alright, now we're into the free stages of this. So Mike, if you have to go, and you know, you've spent 2 hours here in the game, you're more than welcome to do whatever you like from here. But Ryu, am I able to have you for another, let's say 15 minutes? I just want to talk to you about how we're going to launch the Crux Cup 24-hour.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, so for anyone that's sticking around, I will do some live simulated launches of the Crux Cup 24-hour. So if you want to experience what it's going to be like for the very first racer to launch in the Crux Cup 24-hour, let's pick a random beam here. Let's pick this beam. I would like you all to fly and stage your ship around this cargo lift that we will use to protect your ships and stage all of your backup ships. I'm just going to do a quick check here. So when you're flying through the tunnel, definitely have your speed lower than 50 meters a second, particularly if you're not an active racer. I need to respect people that are racing, so we'll stay low to the beams and make sure we're staying out of the way of racers when we are doing the 24-hour. I'm also just checking to see if there's any weird invisible geometry here. Seems okay. And check this area, feels pretty clear. So anything from this cargo crane will make your ships invincible. So putting a ship in there, if anyone crashes into the cargo crane, you won't be affected. The wreckage will just fall off to the side and not affect your race team. So yeah, come in here, Renae. Stage your ship underneath this cargo beam or just beside it. It'll protect your ship. And this is where you want to stage. Come underneath the geometry. Fully encase your ship. Yeah, and inside this geometry. It'll make your ships immortal to any incidents that happen. Any collisions that happen with the platform they'll hit this cargo crane, or they'll hit the beam and not hit you, and your ship is fully protected under here. So you can stage at least 2 ships under here, I think, safely. And then any others should be behind that. So Rob, come back here as well. You want to keep the middle of the beam free. So at all times, keep the middle of the beam free so that there's like less party markers out in the middle of the track. And when you you're just trying to group them all inside in a staging area, essentially. And when you're ready to launch, then you move out to the middle. Say, Rob, come back here behind Renae. And Ryu, if I could have you park right next to Renae. Protect your ship in the geometry of this cargo lift, so that in the event of any incident, you will not be affected. Your ship won't have to be respawned. It won't suffer any destruction if a racer crashes into this beam. Not that it will happen. I trust all of you, and I trust all of the racers coming to rest safely around Milford. That for everyone's safety, I think this is a really good strategy to increase the survivability of you and our backups, spaceships ready to go. So that's perfect. We got Zach as well. Zach is open. Okay.
No, I just respawned.
Or,
I'm actually just grabbing a P-72 because that Mustang was terribly slow.
Copy that. You got plenty of time to come out here. Alright, Rob, get back to the staging area as you can. I'm gonna be flying around. But if you could stage yourself.
I'm assuming I didn't qualify.
Yep. Hey, you did qualify. I qualified you today. Yeah, so you'll count as one of the qualifying members for the Crux Cup 24-hour. And like, if you have an hour to give, you can even sign up as a reserve for the team if you don't have time to actively race. I am allowing 2 reserve sign-ups on your team, so Reserve people can be in voice chat. They can be feeding information to your race team. Kind of like race engineers. We're feeding information on how everyone is doing in the race, like how much, like how your last lap time was like compared to your previous one, how many laps, how many laps you are behind or in front of someone, in front or behind you. So reserve team members have stuff to do, but they're also there if one of your 6 team members can't make it. Like if there's an IRL emergency, a family emergency, and one of your 6 members has to drop out of the team, your reserve is allowed to step in. But I have to know who these people are, so that I can whitelist them for the protected servers that we're getting with CIG. So I have to know all of these names in 7 days, and then pass them to CIG, and then that's it. The whole competition's locked in. That's who you're gonna get.
When you said protected servers, are you saying we have private servers for this?
We have private servers now, yeah. So Ammo Esports had the first version of this, and Anzia Racing is getting the experimental second version of this. There will be no bad actors, no public traffic. That's right. Now there's a huge benefit between, I love going on about this, the Crux Cup versus the Demo Rally. The thing that causes so much lag in the Demo Rally is how many goddamn entities people bring to that event. They will fill up a Hercules with 6 vehicular entities, and there's like hundreds of racing teams all coming with that stuff and generating an immense amount of lag. I focus on optimizing the fun and the experience. So we have 10 racing teams, that's 10 ships in the field, and then if you multiply that by the amount of spares that everyone has, then you would have, say, 30 entities in the area, which is like, in Demo Rally teams, I don't know, that's maybe like 3 or 4 Demo Rally teams worth of entities. The experience you'll have on a private server of just 10 ships flying around with like a couple backup ships on each team then flying around, the FPS is going to be so good. And because it's a single server that we only focus on and be on and manage, you'll only see about fluctuating in the 24-hour between 40 to 70 people on the server at any one time as people log in, stage themselves, join the whitelisted server, and then come out to the race. So the amount of player count will be low. The event, so the Crux Cup, is going to be so good. Yeah, you can tell I thought a lot about this. So yeah, experience will be amazing. And I'm really grateful to CIG for their support. This is something we've been asking Ammo Esports and I for a long time. And we know it's been coming, but we can't exactly host servers ourselves, so getting this feature for the biggest community events is huge. It's massive for us to make esports truly what Star Citizen can make it be. And yeah, so let's talk about launching the Crux Cup 24-hour. Now you might have seen the pits and race launch video that I sent you, or Rio sent you. Let's do that live now. So we're doing the classic Le Mans start, and what that is, if you've never heard of it or seen it, is in the old days of Le Mans 24-hour, race drivers would start outside of their car, across a pavement. They would all line up on this pavement, and then they would run to their race car, they would turn on the engine had to be off, and then they would launch out of the pits and then go and start their race. We're doing that here. It was significantly more dangerous than the actual Le Mans. It was so dangerous, in fact, that because all the cars were like right next to each other, that they stopped doing it. But we have a unique situation. We have a space video game where we have plenty of space. All of their ships are kilometers apart, so the likelihood of two coming together is very low and less dangerous. But I will say, if you are launching with races in front of you, just put your crosshair either to the left or right of races in front, so that you just launch a little bit safer, a little bit cleaner. So let's practice this live launch right now as if it was the day as if it was Crux Cup 24-hour day. So, Rio, we will ask you and Tess to stage your first active racer to launch the Crux Cup 24-hour that's served to you. You as the active racer, come out of your pit bay, stage yourself in the middle of Milford platform, perpendicular to your team pit beam, facing the exit of Milford, ready to go on to Caplan and begin the race. So, position your spacecraft in the middle of the beam now, and then switch its engines off, get out of your ship, and you will need to be 50 meters from your ship for the beginning of the race.
You're not in the middle of the beam. It's the other side of the thing.
He's coming. Come on, Ryu. There you go. I'll help you. Race officials will be there on the day to help you. So here is the middle of the beam if you need a rough estimate, and you can face my ship as a reference point for the exit of Milford. So you use 20 EchoBits marker, and then land on the middle and turn your engines off.
My character
Awesome,
needs to
looking
get a
good.
drink.
Come down
so I
there.
gotta take off.
So you
I
want
need a
all
drink, I've got one
Yeah,
on me.
look after
got
your
one?
character.
Okay.
Oh yeah, before
Yep,
you
I'll
start
bring
the
you some.
race, make sure your character's looked after. Yeah. You want to be fully topped up, so that, you know, you don't dehydrate in the middle of the race. I'll tell you what, it has happened. The very first race that we did where hunger and thirst was implemented, we took a little bit longer to form the Pro-GP grid than we normally do. And because it was so new and such a fresh mechanic, a player dehydrated to death before the race began, and we had to have a race official fly out, revive them, and hydrate the character. So the commentator said, and that it was a qualifying live stream as well. So luckily it wasn't like the race; it was like just a qualifying race. That they were so excited they fainted on the platform. Alright, so now that you're out of your ship, you'll have the race officials will do a grid check,
I
so
see
they
the
will
second one,
come
thank you.
about your...
Drop it,
Yeah,
No,
How
Renae.
about your
I'm gonna
racing
keep the
ship?
bottle. I doubled them up. Thank you. I'm good. I'm gonna
Did
grab
you
the other
pick
one.
up the second one? Oh, yeah, cool.
No inventory here. What the what?
No, it doesn't. Here, I'll drop my chest, you can use that.
Thanks.
What they need is a backpack IV.
A backpack IV? Yeah,
like
actually,
a camelback.
we already
just as
suggested
your
to
arm.
CRG. You know the race driver suits that they have coming? I've said to the team, like,
They need a camel pack, yeah.
Like, yes, can we get a camel pack? Can we get something that sustains our character's thirst and hunger, as well as reducing the amount of cheese we take with that suit? And they're like, oh, we didn't think of that. That sounds great. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that goes through. But
And
yes,
it weighs
on
4
the day,
kilos less than
read-
the other suits.
Yeah, exactly. Should be very light to run.
It'd be like
So we've got Ryu staged here with their ship off, and race officials will check your ship. And the way we tell that your engines are off is we can see the engine glow. If the engine glow is still on, we'll tell you to get back into your ship, turn the engines off. We also check the IR signature versus known values. So looking good, Ryu. That is a legal ship start there.
Did you need a
then the
drink
next
too,
thing we
Rob?
do is measure.
sure. Sorry.
The next thing we do is measure, it's alright, whether you are 50 meters away from your ship. So we do this by going opposite you here. We put you at 100 with your ship, and then we can see you're at 151 within a reasonable margin of 50 meters. You're okay. You're okay to launch in the Crux Cup 24-hour. Stay where you are, Rio, and get ready for the race start. So we'll do a grid walk, we'll check everyone, make sure they're legal, ready to start the race, like this. And then, when the race director is satisfied, there will be a live countdown delivered over Discord to start the Crux Cup 24-hour. So I will just speed up to that point where we have Ryu. We would like you and your racing team to be ready to start the Crux Cup 24-hour. So listen for the live countdown. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! So run to your ship, get the interact ready. It might be a little bit delayed to get the interact up. Get in, turn your ship engines on, and boost off the mine down the tunnel to begin the race for your team.
I saw this on Speed Racer the other day.
Oh yeah.
Your speed racer burning down Quadrum. Oh no, that's Grease Lightning. Hang on.
Rio, do a lap. Just actually, it's okay if you want to loop a background, but I'm going to launch people out one at a time. Do a lap. Let's bring Renae.
Yep.
Let's say it's your turn. Let's say you're the first racer to launch for the Crux Cup 24-hour. Come out and stage your ship in the middle of the platform. Land it, engines off, get out of your ship, be 50 meters away. I'll help you mark it.
And so this is where it's gonna. This is where it's gonna start officially. It's not gonna be like we did that time.
This is where it's gonna start officially. That's right. So it won't be a rolling start. We do have a formation lap on the Open and Pro GP. That's quite typical of our competitions, but for this start, it's unique. We're doing the standing FPS start. Looking good. We just race officials are gonna check if your engines are off. So then just get. You can. No, I'm not. So the only two conditions are engines are off, 50 meters away from your ship. And I will say, it's more optimal to have your canopy open and your ladder deployed if you have that on your ship, because that reduces the animation time. It lowers it significantly.
That's it. Let's use the gamma.
Strategy. Let's see here. What's the fastest racing ship to enter? Could be up the upper ladder. And looks good. Renae, you're ready to launch for the test squadron. Wait for the official Crux Cup 24-hour countdown, and that will be delivered over Discord. So here we go. Let's get to that live countdown for the Crux Cup 24-hour start. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, let's get your next racer lined up. Zach, would you like to stage yourself as the next active racer, ready to launch for the Crux Cup 24-hour? Put yourself in the middle of the platform, engines off, and be 50 meters away from your ship. Here is the middle, if you need a mark, but anywhere is fine.
Okay, I just tapped the deck and exploded. No, my ship just tapped the deck and exploded just then.
Did you explode?
And this is why...
Yep.
This is why we have 6 team members for the Crux Cup 24-hour, so that if any of the Star Citizen shenanigans happens, you have a backup racer ready to go to help you out. That is the beauty of this competition.
So I guess I'm the
See
backup.
you in a minute, Zach. Here you go, Rob. You are the backup for the test squadron. Come out and stage yourself in the middle of the platform. Rio, if you could reduce your speed to 50 meters a second and then come park at test squadron's race team pit beam and protect yourself from the geometry.
That's good.
That would be awesome. Looking good, Rob. Come and land it in and then switch your engines off and then get out of your ship. Be 50 meters away from your ship.
You said I could open the canopy and the ladder.
You can open the canopy and ladder. That is not a requirement. That is up to you. That is a choice. That is a choice you get to make.
Does landing gear have to be down?
Landing gear has to be down. That is a... I would say... I mean... You'd be damaging your ship. It's not a requirement, but it's a recommendation to have your landing gear down to protect the health of your craft.
Hammers fit very nicely on their wings.
They can. And upside down, they've got the forks for it too.
It's true.
Alright. Alright, let's, race officials are gonna measure your distance within a reasonable margin. Let's get Test Squadron ready to launch. Alright, Rob, get ready for the live countdown. Crux Cup 24 hour. Here it comes over Discord. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Now Renae, you are doing a lap, aren't you? You're coming into the Shimura platform. Incredible. We are going to skip to a scenario where you've been the active racer for a long time, Renae. You're coming up on your 3-hour maximum seat time. This is the lap you need to pit on. The race officials, gentlemen chairs, who'll be saying, alright Renae, you're coming up on your 3-hour maximum seat time. You need to pit this lap and swap with one of your other team members. So we're going to do a pit stop practice here, and Ryo, as team captain, you will decide who comes out at this time. So let's say it's you. Let's say you're coming on as the active racer. You will stage yourself or call your team member out to stage for the Test Squadron team to the middle of the platform. Stage your ship in the middle of the platform. Engines on for this. Everything on.
I think I went to the
ready
wrong
go.
place.
Coming in hot.
That's okay. Former Fallen Renae, who is also coming back, you can also return to my marker if you need to.
I blew
Alright,
up.
that's it, Rio. No! That's okay, we got plenty of team members. There's so many of you that we can replace, we can keep your team going.
You're expendable!
Now we have Rio ready to launch and become the
position,
active
right?
racer. So right now you're an inactive racer, but you are staged, ready to go. Now what I want you to do,
land, right?
you do. Now what I recommend doing for your first time doing, so the retro thrusters are a lot weaker. At about 3 kilometers out, reduce your speed. So reduce your speed now, use base and your retros to slow down. Come in a little bit lower so that you clear any racers behind you to fly over you. Come in as soon as your landing gear touches the ground, and Rio, you can watch this now. As soon as you see Renae's landing gear touch the ground, their ship come to a stop, the landing gear must be on the beam. You can go, launch. Once you hear that over race comms, that is your cue to go. You can do this fully autonomously. You don't need to communicate with race direction to say, okay, Test Squadron are doing a pit. We're launching. We will have an app that you fill out, and you just change who your active racer is and what ship they're flying. That will update race direction. You don't need to communicate with us. You can do all of that fully autonomously, and Renae, you're doing beautifully. Putting yourself into the inactive racer pit bay, ready to either go back to the spaceport to replace your ship. Maybe it's run out of hydrogen fuel as well. So you've got plenty of time as an inactive racer to go deal with getting another ship, go replace it while Rio is now your active racer and covering for you. So that is how you do pit stops fully autonomously. Like, we're reducing any conkiness that you have, like being vocal with race direction. The only time you have to be really vocal with race direction is when your ship is destroyed. As long as you tell race direction, like Test Squadron ship destroyed, then you'll get an acknowledgement from race direction to say, okay, Test Squadron, no problem, you can launch your next racer as soon as possible. As soon as you get that voice communication, you can, race direction knows about it, and you can launch your next racer then in those situations. But when it comes to pit stops, we'll give you plenty of warning as well. And you'll likely know from just reading the app how you're doing and how your race seat time is going and whether you need to change to a different ship chassis. All of that information will be displayed on the app. But we'll also communicate with you so that, you know, everyone is... We're having a social and strong communication between race direction and the racing teams. All right.
One question.
Rio is doing a lot. Yep, fire away.
Okay, so that was a pit stop, right? So that the second racer will come out and set up. The first racer will come in, land. The second racer will take off and go from the middle of the platform. As this is a two-part question.
Exactly
First part,
right.
Do I need to land in the middle, or can I land closer to this beam? And then he goes, or head right beside him, basically.
You can land anywhere on the beam,
Okay.
as long as it's your team pit beam.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Second-
yeah, the only condition is you need to have your landing gear out, come to a stop, then the other racer can go. Yep.
Yeah. The second question is, in the event of a crash, that's not a pit stop. If I get the go-ahead to go, does that mean I'm putting my ship in the middle, or am I taking off from where I'm sitting right now?
Yeah, so let's say your team member that's coming into pit crashes, maybe they're really tired, maybe they misjudge the team pit beams and they cause that incident. That has to go through race direction. So this is an incident situation where you need to say test squadron ship destroyed. You need to get a call back from race direction, say acknowledge test squadron. You may launch your next racer. So that in that situation you would need race directions approval and also we will provide you a way to say that there's been an incident. So in the event race direction isn't there, and we're going to have 2 race directors for this, so they'll be covering each other. In the event you don't get a reply, it's wrong race direction, you can input the incident yourself, and you can say, we had a ship crash, it was this racer at this platform, and then race direction will receive that information. If you don't get a reply after like 3 seconds, and you input that into the app, then you're cleared to just autonomously launch your next racer. But you should. In general, race direction is going to be there for 24 hours, the whole thing, and they will be communicating with you the whole time. But in the event they don't, we also have full autonomy and an app to handle it as well. So yeah, that submitting an incident or getting a callback from race direction is critical when your ship's destroyed.
So
Yeah.
that's the being allowed to launch. I get that part. The part I'm asking more about is
Yeah.
I'm sitting right here under the beam right now. My other racer crashes. I got the okay to go. Does that
Yeah.
mean I'm launching from where I'm sitting right now, or do I have to do the steps of bringing my ship to the center and getting?
Does he have to stage the ship first before launching?
Do they have to go to the middle? I think
Yeah.
I leave it up to your judgment. I leave it up to the autonomy of you
I got you.
and your judgment. I think if you know there's like if you're doing a pit, you're going to stage out in the middle, so you have the maximum forward thrust as you launch out of the pit stop towards the exit of Milford. So you'll probably be staged already anyway. But if you aren't, if there's a problem, like say someone crashes immediately on launch, and you're in that position there where you are right now, you haven't had time to prepare backup racer, I leave it up to your judgment to safely exit your team beam and take over.
So, sorry, now I have another question. Are you saying that once Ryonin takes off, or our first racer takes off, we actually move our second ship ready into the center of the beam and just leave it there? I thought we left the
I would
ship
say
here.
you leave your ships there, but and I would say only on the condition of like you need to launch someone. There's a known time, like pitting, that you need to launch someone, then stage them out. What I would prefer is if racers didn't put party markers on the center of the beams, and what that does is it kind of makes it, it groups them all up into one side of it. It makes one half of the beam more visible to the racers. It's a little bit safer for them.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any specific rules against it, just being sitting in the middle all the time, but it's a lot safer.
Yeah.
Because you're protected by the geometry for one. Your ship will be like safe from incident if any other race teams cause you problems by crashing into your team pit beam.
Okay.
I think it's just safe practice to only stage in the middle when you absolutely have to.
Makes sense. Thanks.
But I leave it up to your judgment. There might be a situation where you launch a racer and they immediately hit the ceiling of Milford. Where you are sitting right now would be okay to just take off, carefully maneuver out of the cargo lift, and then take over as the active racer immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I leave it up to your judgment in that situation.
Okay.
And that's it. Then it is 24 hours of racing, swapping ships every 6 hours, swapping races every 3 if you build up that seat time. All the way up to 24 hours. We will then have a very standard white flag lap. And this white flag lap is set by the overall race leader. So at 24 hours, we'll figure out who the overall race leader is. Hang on just 1 second.
Bless you.
Anti-log off in 5, 4, 3,
Okay, in
aborted.
24 hours, we'll figure out who the overall race leader is. And then we'll say, okay, this race team in first is going to do one final lap. And when that overall leader crosses the finish line the next time on the white flag lap, that's when we throw out the checkered flag, and anyone behind them finishing also finishes their race. And that's how we close out the race.
Hey, Travis.
And that's it.
Hot mic.
That is the Crux Cup 24 hour in a nutshell.
So it's really 24
Thank you
hours.
for coming to my Echo Talk. It really is 24 hours, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much for giving us the walkthrough and showing us the
Brilliant.
ropes. It was really helpful. Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you.
It's quite alright. My DMs
learned a
are
lot.
always open if you have a question later or you want to ask about this ship or another ship and some advice on that. We do ship testing on every single ship in the game. Every major patch. Anzia has a public ship speed data project, and we also test the hydrogen fuel efficiencies of these ships, which the data mining websites won't tell you, because we come out here and practice at the Ahi-Mahi range and determine the overall flight times of ships. So I will link that to you as one final piece of like, here's how all the ships are performing. Now come up with a team strategy for the 24 hour, which are your slow ships, and who wants to race them.